Hi everyone, and welcome to this short Flowtify update. In this release, we're highlighting 5 great new features, along with many ongoing minor improvements that continue to make day-to-day work across the platform smoother, clearer, and more practical. Let's start with the revised publishing experience in the web dashboard. Publishing checklist updates is now much clearer, especially when changes need to go live without disrupting the business. Instead of simply pushing an update, users now have better control over when a change should take effect. For example, you can wait until planned checklists are completed, wait until currently running checklists are finished, publish at a defined date and time, or apply the update immediately. Publishing immediately is the fastest route, but in live store operations, it can also overwrite checks that have already been completed. These new settings reduce rollout risk, protect active documentation, and make controlled changes much easier. The second improvement is about parameterized checklists and tasks, available as a paid add-on in the Flowtify HACCP app. These parameters are simply placeholder terms in curly brackets that employees fill in at the start, so the checklist and its tasks are automatically tailored to the specific input. You can now create lists to standardize recurring entries. Instead of typing in information like supplier names again and again, teams can now choose from centrally defined options. This makes documentation faster and more consistent. A separate video will explain this feature in more detail. There are also 2 smaller additions worth mentioning. You can now define workdays for each location, so scheduled checklists are only created on the days that actually matter for that site. In case your organization wants fully consistent temperature documentation across all locations, Celsius or Fahrenheit can now be enforced company-wide. And while we're still on the dashboard side, another great new feature involves checklists that contain a mix of mandatory tasks and if-needed tasks. These checklists can now be completed as soon as all mandatory tasks are done. That may sound like a small change, but in daily operations, it makes a real difference. Optional tasks no longer keep a checklist open when the required work is already finished. With the new logic, the app clearly signals when a checklist is ready to close. As soon as the final mandatory task is completed, a flag icon appears on the checklist tile, giving users an immediate visual cue. And if a signature is required, it can now be added directly when closing the checklist. We also moved the collective signature information to the bottom of the screen. Overall, this makes checklist completion faster and more intuitive. Also on the app side, there is now a new IoT issue section in the Flowtify HACCP app. For users working with sensors and the right permission, this makes it possible to manage issues in bulk directly inside the app. In practice, that means less switching back to the web dashboard during operations and a faster way to handle sensor-related issues right where the work is happening. Next, let's look at our new FlowDrive synchronization feature. With the new app sync logic, documents and folders from FlowDrive can now be distributed to the Flowtify HACCP app in a much more targeted way. Access can be configured by user, role, or location, making it much easier to provide the right documents to the right people. This is especially useful for HACCP documents such as flowcharts, training files, authority-relevant documents, or site-specific reference material. Instead of relying on separate channels or manual sharing, companies can now make important documents available directly inside the app environment where teams already work. Synchronization can be managed at the folder level, which makes larger document structures much easier to roll out and maintain. So overall, this release is about 5 clear benefits: safer checklist publishing, more intuitive parameterized inputs, faster checklist completion, IoT issue handling in the app, and structured distribution of documents across multiple locations. Thanks for watching, and we hope these new features make your daily work with Flowtify even smoother.